The clock ticked past 2 a.m. Another late night at the computer, the glow of the screen illuminating the bedroom, cigarette butts scattered on the desk, remnants of a late-night degenerate session. Outside, the world was asleep, a silent tableau under the watchful eyes of the moon. The rhythmic hum of the computer, like a gentle breeze rustling the leaves outside, a soothing mantra. I stretched, my fingers cracking from hours of gaming. Just a few more rounds, I thought, then bed. A prickling sensation at the base of my skull, sharp and sudden, startled me from my work. It was like an ice pick, jabbing into the soft flesh at the top of my spine. I instinctively reached back, expecting to find something, anything. My fingers met only the short hairs at the nape of my neck. Sensations vanished as quickly as they had arrived, leaving behind a residue of understanding. A strange feeling washed over me, a wave of knowledge unbidden and unwelcome. I was being watched. My thoughts split. I was being watched. My mind was being watched. I had to pretend I was not aware. The curtains were drawn, but a sliver of the outside peeked through a tiny gap. Fear, cold and clammy, tightened its grip on my chest. Slowly, my heart pounding in my ears, I rose from my chair. Each movement felt mechanical, my limbs heavy and unresponsive. My thoughts remained fixed on just going upstairs to get some water, trying to avoid looking at that sliver of a gap, my breath catching in my throat. A shadow darker than the surrounding darkness was behind that curtain. Someone or something was out there. I needed water. Desperately, that's what I was trying to mentally project. My gaze darted around the room as I was now out its line of sight, settling on the curtain covering the closed bedroom door. It was a flimsy barrier, but it was something. I had to move quickly, decisively. Taking a deep breath, I hesitated to turn away from the staircase. I decided I did not want to play this mind game. As soon as I thought of going to the curtain, a wave of strength and knowledge came over me. My every instinct screaming at me to avoid this was now ordering me to engage it. I had to see. With a sudden burst of adrenaline, feeling like a god, I lunged for the curtain, pulling it open with a swift yank. Light from my room flooded outside, revealing a creature. Standing just outside my door, its form silhouetted against the moonlit sky, was a figure. Tall and skeletal, it was draped in what appeared to be a long, black cloak. Its face was hidden within the shadows of its hood, but I could feel its eyes, burning into me with an intensity that made my skin crawl. For a moment, we simply stared at each other, frozen in a tableau of fear and the unknown. Then, slowly, it began to move. It didn't walk, not in the conventional sense. It glided, its feet seemingly not touching the ground as it drifted towards the edge of the lawn, its gaze never leaving mine. In that instant, I reacted and attempted to pursue, removing the lockpin from the door, watching the creature react as I fumble with the door. At this point, I knew I did not have time. Another wave of energy and knowledge rushed over me. I felt like a god. I instead decided to walk through the glass instead of finishing opening the door. I burst out, walking through the window like it was nothing, and into the cool night air. I felt like I had the power of everything good and holy with me. I wanted with all my being to just lay one finger on this visitor. I knew it would change my life as soon as I engaged it. I was unable to reach it in time, my swipe missing the bottom or feet of it as it just elevated straight up into the sky. I didn't stop staring until it left my sight, noticing no movement of wind affecting its clothing, moving as if in an invisible elevator. As soon as it left my sight, the fear, the bone-deep chill of that encounter, dread, heavy, thick death feeling lingered. I had made a grave mistake I may be punished for. The days that followed were a blur. Sleep offered no escape, my dreams haunted by the memory of that night, the chilling emptiness of its gaze. The world, once familiar and comforting, now seemed fraught with unseen dangers. Every shadow held the potential for menace, every creak of the house a whispered threat. The weight of the unknown pressed down on me, suffocating, relentless. I tried to rationalize it away, to explain it as a trick of the light, a figment of a sleep-deprived mind. But the terror that clung to me, The way my skin still crawled at the memory of its touch belied any logical explanation. The encounter had left its mark, an indelible scar on my psyche. I was left questioning my sanity, the very fabric of reality as I had known it. The world seemed different now, altered by that single terrifying encounter. The line between the real and the unreal had blurred, leaving me stranded in a no-man's land of doubt and fear. I was no longer the person I had been before that night. I had looked into the abyss, and the abyss had looked back. And in its gaze, I had glimpsed something truly unsettling, something that challenged the very foundation of my understanding. The world, I realized, was a far stranger and far more dangerous place than I had ever imagined.